Chad Simmons of On3 here with one of the top wide receivers in the 2025 class, Atlanta Westlake. Playmaker Travis Smith. Travis, obviously a long list of offers. You cut your list down to a top 8 here recently. You'll be back at some of those schools here in the coming weeks, coming months. You have dates planned already set with Clemson, Georgia Tech, and Tennessee.
Yep.
We'll get back to Auburn and Georgia as well. So let's hit on those 5 schools. And let's start with first the overall visit. How important are these visits for you in your decision down the road?
Oh, they're huge. Just pretty much seeing the program, how they're run, how they're set, and just seeing overall atmosphere, coaches, players, things like that. So just being around the guys, seeing what could potentially be, that's very huge.
I think the first visit you have set right now for March is Clemson.
Yep.
Going back up to Death Valley. What's kept Clemson in the mix for you?
Their process is a little different from everyone else's. They take a bit of a longer process. Groove guys in. They wanted to see me at campus. To see where my values hold. But they've been on the set. They were left out of that top 8 just because they didn't offer yet. But once I get down to campus, I'll see what they have offered and planned.
If they offer you in person, does that put them right in the mix for you?
Oh yeah, most definitely, yes sir. Oh yeah.
Let's hit 2 schools. You already have trips set to. That's Georgia Tech, a local school in Atlanta, then Tennessee and Knoxville, SEC program you're high on as well. Starting with Georgia Tech, you've been there a couple of times. You know that staff pretty well. What is it about Tech that stands out most to you?
Just quickly, close to home. It's Atlanta, so just being close to home, where family is, that's a huge part. But Coach Key, Coach Crawford, they've been on a high end on just contacting me, communicating with me day in and day out of how much priority I am. So that's why they've been in that close circle.
I know the all top 8 probably make you feel like that. It's your priority. It's your special. Tennessee's done a great job with that as well. Coach Pope, Coach Heupel, that staff. You've been there numerous times. You've been to games. You've been to visits. What keeps you going back to Knoxville?
Just the same thing. Communications is key. Relationships as well. Me, Coach Pope, and Coach Heupel, we've had a great bond. Every time I go there, it's great. It's great being with the guys. And I truly feel comfortable being around those guys. So that's definitely been where they've been at.
Let's stay in the SEC. Auburn, and you got Georgia. No date set yet, but the plan is to get back at some point in the spring to both of those programs. Starting with Auburn, obviously a little bit outside of your home state of Georgia, not too far from home, though. Obviously, Hugh Freeze, 1 year in now as the head coach there. What stands out most about Auburn to you?
Really, Coach Freeze, his past and history with receivers. He produced AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, and he's pretty much told me their stories, and as I, kind of listen to him, I can really see myself in their shoes. But you've seen the receiver core they're bringing in, Cam Coleman,
Perry
Thompson from Foley. So, they're bringing some top-notch guys to Auburn. So, I'd love to be a part of that.
And then with Georgia, going back, like you mentioned, Georgia Tech, close to home, in-state program. You've been to Georgia a handful of times as well. I guess let's start with the Brian McClendon news. BMAC has now gone to the NFL. Does that impact you?
Coach BMAC, me and him, we had a great bond. We still do. He contacted me. He let me know. But that definitely impacts the decision on Georgia. And I don't know. I'm really curious to see who they bring in that receiver position, because that's the guy I'm gonna be in with. And being around day in and day out if I'm at Georgia. So that's definitely a huge. I don't know. We'll see.
Taking the BMAC out of the equation, if there is one thing about Georgia that Georgia is still Georgia, what is it about Georgia, even with BMAC gone, that keeps them kind of on the list?
The winning culture. I believe the statistic was 30 wins in a row. Besides, I believe it was Bama, but the winning cycle and the winning poise and atmosphere they hold, I love that. I love that to death about it.
I guess ultimately, when you make the decision, I know you're a relationships guy. I know you're trying to go where you feel comfortable, where you feel at home, like most of you guys do. I know development's important to you as well. But what do you think is that X factor for you if it comes down to one key factor when you put that hat on or you commit to that school? What's it going to be for you?
Really, where I see myself making plays. I want the ball. That's that's a huge part of me being a receiver. I love having the ball. That's where I make my money at. But seeing myself making plays out there on the field, and seeing the guys in the past who've also made plays on that field as well, that's a huge part. So, I just want to see myself, seeing the future being developed, seeing myself making plays.
Last question. What's the timeline look like? You know, what's the plan as far as when you want to make that decision?
June to July. Those two months will be in between there, but we'll see.
For Travis Smith, I'm Chad Simmons. Stay tuned to On3.